So yeah, this video is going to be about my favorite games of 2022. I'm very late making this video, as it is October, almost November of 2023. Um, so yeah, I've got my list on my phone here. So yeah, I've had it for a while. I don't know if there's a date on this article on this document. Let me see if I can find it. But let's see details. Oh man, I don't know if you can see this on here, but it's basically got a created date. Oh come on, you almost had it, camera. There we go, December 27th, 2022. I think that's when I made this. I don't know like when I had like my actual list. Oh come on, game or camera. I don't know like when I actually had the effing like I've actually like made whatever to it, whatever to it. I don't know when I actually like made, alterations on the effing. Oh come on, dude. Whatever. Anyway, it was focused like once. If I go like down like this, no, no. If I try to get out of the camera, out of the frame, yeah, 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 yeah. Right, anyway, let's stop playing with the phone. But so yeah, usually what I try to do with these is like have my top 5 games of the year. That's what like the whole idea was in the inception. But over time, it's just basically like turned into like my favorite games from that year that I would. Well, I guess like my criteria for like me is like my favorite games I would personally recommend. Like that's how they make the list. It's like okay, this hits the spot. This is like that good. Like it gets to that threshold and like that stratosphere of games of like, dude, you gotta play this. Of like this is like in my opinion from like me, just like. But like if you're not a fan of the genre, it's like you maybe like won't like them, but like to me it's like the best of the best. So like you should at least check it out if you're even if you're not in the genre, you're not in those games. Like you might, but it's like you probably like if you just like for me like right, I don't like visual novels. I don't like dating sims. I don't like sports games. Um, there's roguelikes. I effing hate roguelikes. So it's like those are like my kisses of death of like I don't like these types of games. So it's like I don't really play those types of games or souls likes, which is kind of the same as roguelikes, but close enough because it's like I don't like either of those. Anyway, so it's like there's stuff I don't like. There's stuff that like no matter how good it is, I'm not gonna play. Like I didn't play Elden Ring. It's a Souls like don't care. Um, but I did funnily enough pick up Hades because no like, everybody would not shut up about it. It got super cheap. I was like okay, I'll check it out. Um, but so sometimes it's like I change my mind. Sometimes like oh I'll check it out. But it's like some things I've just had like I've played enough. It's like I played Sekiro. I didn't play the other Souls games. I played Sekiro. Like I know what I like. I know what I don't like. It's kind of like Netflix. Like if you like this genre of like whatever show, you're probably gonna like that. But if like you don't like the genre show, then that's like just don't bother. Like it's like I'm not gonna change your mind. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um, or like if you're like that into like tuned to like what you like and don't like, then just and I'm like recommending stuff that's like you could care less about, then like don't expect to go and like oh this is gonna change my mind because Tekken said it was amazing because yeah because that's why review scores are stupid because a 10 for me is not a 10 for you, which is why review scores should not exist. Anyway, I don't know what this video is already getting weird. I haven't even said any games and it's already weird. But let's get into games. Yes. So, uh, Horizon Forbidden West. It's an expansion, not a full game, but dude, effing Horizon, dude, just like that game visually is so effing good. Like, it looks amazing. Okay, okay. I guess the problem with like Forbidden West is like since it's an expansion, right? Like, it is on top of like greatness already, but still, it's like you get more. It looks amazing. Like that whole scenario when you go to the West Coast, you go to LA, things are well. It takes a while to get there, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Like you don't immediately land and go to LA. It's been a while since I played it, but it's a good experience. It's a fun time. Um, and dude, that final boss fight, I'm not gonna spoil it. Still a year later, like I've still not put up the share button clip I have of it. I'm just like, dude, This is too good. Like this is like if you haven't played it, you gotta play it. Like I can't spoil it for you, but like dude, there's like let's just say a colossal encounter, and you'll be like, dude, this is like a PS2 era like experience of like you're looking up and it's just like a giant massive boss, and it's like, dude, it's like man, it's like you're like cut from Transformers the movie 1980 whatever, cartoon version, not the Michael Bay stuff. Of you're just like not like well you're kind of like that part when they get to Unicron and he's attacking Cybertron, and it's like I've never seen anything like this before, and it's like, but it's like it's like more like you've seen things like this before, but it's like it's been a while. It's like man, it's been a while since I've seen a colossal boss fight in a game like on this scale. Just holy crap. But yeah, dude, it's got like it's effing Horizon Forbidden West. So it's got the mechanics, it's got the traversal, it's got the open world, it's got the RPG elements, it's got the skill tree, it's got Aloy, it's got the robot dinosaurs. It's got the whole post effing post apocalypse thing going on, and it's got more. Oh, dude, it's got more tie into like the storyline. Mm, so effing good. Just like setting it up, man. Setting it up the third game. Setting it up so good. Just get ties more stuff into the whole effing not the whole Nemesis thing per se, but like the effing I forgot what the other faction was. I'm sorry, I'm blanking. There's like the faction that the faction of like the bad people of like the yeah the oligarchs that turn themselves into gods essentially. I can't think of like what they're called. I'm blanking. But yeah, those people. The Carrie Ann Moss's character from Forbidden West. Wait, was Forbidden West? I'm sorry. Wait. Was Forbidden West the? Oh my gosh, this list might be old. Hold on. Wait, Forbidden West come out? Hold on. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I wow. This list is so old that the expansion that came out this year I thought was from last year. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry, people watching this. I have not started over. Let's just keep going. Let's just keep going. That's why the expansion from this year will make the list this year. But I'm getting ahead of myself because, dude, I just talked about the expansion. I haven't talked about the base game. Oh, that's effing crazy. All right. Anyway, Horizon Forbidden West. Oh my gosh. But yeah, man, it basically picks up with the last game. Ayla goes into the Forbidden West. She gets all these new abilities, meets all these new characters, all these new factions, and it's a fun ride. And there's some returning characters. You get a hub, you get a like base Bioware style, and you get like your NPC buddies to hang out at the base, and you can come back and talk to them Bioware style. It's very Bioware. This is a very Bioware game. I was playing. I was like, dude, did they just like pull a mass? Oh, they didn't pull a Mass Effect, but it felt very Bioware because it's got like all the trappings of a Bioware game where it's like you've got an ancient evil, you've got beyond the machine threat, like stuff coalesces to like, oh, this is things are going on, but like you find out like what the f went down when like F and Project Zero Dawn got like derailed. We didn't get derailed, but like stuff went down like in the first game of like I'm trying to like not to spoil it, but like basically not things didn't go according to plan how they're supposed to in Project Zero Dawn, and so you find out what happened with that in this game of like who's at fault, who did what, like what were their motivations, and it's like the nefarious reasons behind them, which they're very deceptive in this game about like why they did what they did, and it's like you get to the end and like why things went down, and it is good. It is effing good. Like I said, dude, Karen Moss's character and Aloy, woo, fireworks, so good. And then like effing, there's another character I'm not gonna say because it's kind of a spoiler, they're a very special character to me, just like another character in Mass Effect 2. Like I never talk about them, even though they're like very like if you whatever it's like out there in the internet. I don't care. I don't talk about them. It's like a joy to meet them. And there's characters like that in this game where it's like just like Alien. It's like a counterpart. And you're like, oh, you're this person. I'm this person. We're kind of like two sides of the same coin. It's pretty effing cool. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was super awesome. Just fantastic. Um, Ashley Burch did like amazing performance on Aloy again, because she's the voice actor. Um, Man, also pouring out Lance Reddick, dude. He did a great. Not only did like he do a great job as like Silence, but like you finally get your answers with him. You finally get your answers with Silence. What went down? Why he did what he did? And man, I wanted to punch him in the face so hard, and I was like, dude, I effing hate you, Silence. You're such an a hole. It's like this whole time you effing knew. You could just told me. And that builds into the third game too. It was like, oh, well, actually, I guess I'll help you because I'm curious to see what's going to happen. And it's like he has his like own motivations. It's just like, dude, it's so effing good. It was man. Forbidden West is so good though because like you have like it basically is just like more of the first game but like better, and then like just like build on it with like the story and characters and like where the narrative is going. Like you can see it's going somewhere, and it's like, oh, it's building to this thing, and it's like man. And then like you got like you like Aloy does like this cool. They do this cool thing with Aloy where she basically has to like the threat for the second game. She's like building a coalition, so she's got like all these different characters from these different tribes in the Forbidden West, or just from like the humanity in that post apocalyptic tribal uh, society that they have. So she's got like a bunch of different people she's built coalitions and alliances with, and she like meets a bunch of different of the other tribes in the Forbidden West, which are different from the tribes in the Nora region, which she came from, or the first game. So that's cool, and they've got like their own thing going on over there as far as like why they are the way they are, and like you find out about all that. And there's different, and there's like, well, yeah, there's more robot dinosaurs and stuff. But then like you find out, well, no, you don't find out because like they talk about the Zero Dawn thing, but you get more of the AI stuff with the different like the different was it subroutines of the Gaia system, or like the AIs that work in unison to like do all that stuff. So you get more of that. It's just it's just more story, more lore, more character. It's just it's like I'm kind of biased because Horizon Forbidden Dawn is like my favorite game of the last console generation as far as like new IPs go. Like it just killed it. Like it was like besides Witcher 3, like Horizon Zero Dawn's like a close second. Like effing just yeah, I can't get enough of that game. That's like in my wheelhouse, make up a tea because it's like sci-fi, but it's like got all this other stuff going on that like makes it like what's like so effing good of like why it works. I'm not gonna get into it because it'd be like a super long video because I just gush all over it. But yeah, dude. I love how I just talked about Forbidden West and I was thinking about Burning Shores. That's it. I was like, dude, what? I'm looking at my thing and I'm like, this is Forbidden West, and I'm like, oh yeah, 2022, and I'm like, that came out. Burning Shores came out this year, and I'm like, dude, I'm talking about Burning Shores, and it's like, dude, that's how long it took me to make this effing video. So it's like, haha, funny jokes on me. But yeah, Horizon Forbidden West. It's yeah. If you're into open world games that are like lean sci-fi with skill trees, with good voice acting, good characters, good dialogue, good lore. If you played the first game and you're like, I want more of that, just pick it up because it's that effing good. Um, I believe it is cross-gen, so it is on PS4, but the expansion is PS5 only, so you might want to just get the PS5 version unless you don't have a PS5, but then, you can always just... I think this expansion is standalone too. No, it's not. Is it? You know what? Don't listen to me. I don't know if it's standalone. I don't believe it is standalone. So I think you'd have to like have the base game and the expansion. Yeah, that's how expansions work, right? So yeah. Anyway, so maybe don't get it on PS4 because I don't think it. And whatever, dude. The PlayStation changed their policy on like the whole like if you buy PS4 version, you get the PS5 version. It's the whole thing. But let's not get into that. I'm just thinking about like angry thoughts about Jim Ryan. But yeah, man, Horizon Forbidden West, easily my favorite game last year. It's at the top of my list, so which I'll try to get in focus on the camera because that totally worked at the beginning of the video, didn't it? Yeah. And then I've got God of War Ragnarok, dude. That game is like spectacle. Like that's more of a. I mean, it does have like good story, dude. The good thing I see, okay, so like it's basically more like the PS4 version of the game. Honestly, it's just like more of the same. But like the thing I really liked about this one is like they go more into they didn't really they they barely touch on like the PS2 stuff and the PS3 stuff and like they barely touch on like the Kratos pre God of War in this Norse era. This one they go into it, dude, and it's like Kratos is like, I used to have a daughter, I used to have a wife before Faye, and it's like, oh, he talked about it, he talked about it. It's like he goes through it, he talks about it, and it's just like stuff goes down, and then, dude, this okay. Also, this game is just story beat, moment, like just such a good like character driven action game, like. I mean, yeah, in my opinion, it still doesn't have the best 3D combat, but it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to have. Like it hasn't. It's like it's serviceable. It gets you from the beginning to the end, and it's like the story moments in this game. Oh my gosh, just like they're, yeah. I mean, not just story moments, but like the story because like what's so good about this game is like the story and like the action are kind of like just like combined and like in conjunction and conjoined, like at the hip. So it's like you've got I mean, yeah, like I said, like it. They're not really doing too much new here because it is just like Kratos kills things and gets angry, and then like every time he does get angry and kills things, he has like a little emotional like moment of like what just happened, or let's like talk through this. But yeah, you also get some stuff with Atreus, and it's I don't know, it's hit or miss because I mean I liked it, but then Gamer12 hates it. He's like every time he talks about the game, he's like, I hate when you have to play as Atreus. So you might not feel that same way. You might feel the same way. Whatever. But you get to go. I'm trying to think, cause like you got to go to Jotunheim, but like all the giants are dead. So yeah, I mean, with like the exception of like one. I mean, it's whatever, dude. It's like the name's Ragnarok. It's in the name. Ragnarok goes down. It's effing epic. It's just, dude. That was like, dude, that moment happens, and you're like, only with the power of the PlayStation can they do this epic battle, and it's just like, it's just so effing good. And that's like, yeah. And then like even like before that though, all the boss fights. I'm not gonna say any, but dude, yeah, good stuff. Good like yeah, like I said, character-driven action game, man. Like there's awesome story moments. Like the combat is effing intense and fun, and satisfying. Music is there. Bear McCreary, whatever his name is. I'm sorry if I get it wrong. On point with the dun 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 theme. Like, okay, I mean, yeah, it's like he's maybe the composer, and there's other people on the instruments actually like jamming out, but like, it effing worked and it delivered, and I was satisfied, and it was fantastic. I loved it. So effing good. And then like visually, dude, like effing yes, like this is PS5 game, and it just like visually, just like my eyeballs were just like so good. Looks just like you start the game up, Chris is on the menu with his like some fur on his like outfit, armor, whatever. It looks great. The whole game looked fantastic. But yeah, visually looks amazing. Controls amazing. It's got quasi open world elements. That was cool too. I mean, so does the PS4 version, but like this one was like felt more of it because you had like a little compass thing. Though this time it got kind of confusing on like where you're going because you're like, oh, I can't get here yet, dude. That was like the one drawback of this game. I would say it just like it just like lightning bolted in my brain because there's some times when like you're trying to get somewhere and it's like, oh, I don't have this yet. Oh, I don't have this yet, and it's like, dude, you don't get that thing that you didn't have for a very long time. And the game's just like, oh, here's an audible cue of like, you can go here and do this. And it's like, dude, like, I don't know. It just, that was just like the one frustration I had with the game. But it got kind of annoyed when I was like, oh, let me try to get to this side quest or this item that I'm trying to get to. And it's like, oh, I can't do this yet. And it's like, I have to come back for this. So there's a lot of replay value, but backtracking, and it's like, I haven't done all that stuff. But I hear it's great from Gamer12 because I saw him tweet about it, and he was like, "Oh, so but yeah, dude, it's got basically if you play the PS4 version. It's basically that game and better because that stuff it teased at the end of the PS4 game. If you went back home, it delivers. It effing delivers, and it's like these boss fights are just as good, if not better. Yeah, it's effing that. Um, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. You've got sweet abilities, sweet combat. It all often works. It's a fun effing ride, and yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of. I'm kind of curious, like, what they're gonna do with the next one if they make another one, because that was I didn't. Yeah, we'll see, I guess, right? So, Sunny Santa Monica, good effing job. That was that was yes, delicious. Um, all right, the next game we've got on my list. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about that one, besides the whole. Oh, I need to come back and get this thing because I don't have the thing. Because yeah, dude, like, I mean, there are some points where you get to I think Svartalheim. It's like Svarar. I don't know. I don't know how it's spelled, but it's like Svartalheim with this is S, so it's like Svartal. Whatever. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I'm sorry. I don't speak Norse. It's where they're not gnomes. The dwarves live. The effing Sindri and his brother, like those two, like that's where they live. But you only meet one of them. But then you go to like a village, but there's no people outside. There's no like pedestrians like walking through the city, like just doing my dwarf stuff in Dwarf City. Cause I mean they have like a kind of like a cop out on like the whole reason. Cause like Odin has like a effing not quite martial law thing in place, but just like a warning to all the citizens to like not help Kratos in this journey, or else it's like So yeah, can't exactly. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I just kicked my chair. And my camera just did the thing. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try to not do that. Um. But yeah, there's a lot of not a lot of different locations. Uh. And then some of them are just locations from the previous game, but you go to like different places or different places in similar locations and whatnot, and just a bunch of different characters. Some returning characters, some new characters, and it's a fun effing time. And yeah, oh, dude, yeah, like I already talked about the awesome boss fights, but yeah, boss fights, quite epic. Ragnarok battle, effing epic. Um, so yeah, I guess there's not much to say because I keep repeating myself, but like awesome action, great story beats, fun effing time, some nice ambient music going on as well, or just good queued up music to like what's happening on screen. Oh man, yeah. I'm thinking about Forbidden West, and I'm like, I probably didn't gush about it enough, but it's like, dude, I'm pretty sure I talked about it enough, so it's whatever. It's my favorite game. So, I mean, I don't, but it's like I don't want to like overdo like Mass Effect, so it's like whatever. Anyway, but yeah, next game, Tactics Ogre Reborn. So, before I get into it, like I kind of tried like every year to only have like one, because there's like this is like a thing now where it's like you have like a game that's either been remastered or remade, and it's like I kind of have to like limit myself to like one game that is a this game existed before but is like being brought forward, on the list. Otherwise, it gets too many of them because I'm just like, oh, this game is still awesome. This game's still awesome because it's like last year Saga Frontier remastered. I was like, I could put it on the list, but it's like, dude, I feel like that's such a like ringer, right, for me of like old JRPGs I can play again. It's like, yes, they're still all amazing and still fun and awesome. And I'm like, wait a minute, if I do this, if I put these on my favorite games, that's gonna like totally bloat the list of like five JRPGs of like from the '90s that kind of been brought forward in 4K or HD or whatever. And it's like, just you're not servicing your audience like you should, or like as good as you could if you didn't just uh what's the word? Um, Tunnel vision. There we go. Into like the stuff that like you're just super into. So it's like, oh yes, good point. Voice in my head. You are correct. But yeah, Tactics are Reborn, dude. I, ugh, that game. It's like the secret sauce with this one of like why it made the list over everything else was basically they added voice over to the game. It wasn't in there before, and they did like and Square Enix did Square Enix. It feels like Square Enix when they make these high fantasy games now. It's like they're all like European accents of people on Earth. Well, that's a silly thing to say. They're all European accents. It's like there's really only one, Earth with people on it, Chris. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of like how to like describe this. Anyway, European accents. So it's like they do like the high fantasy, but it's you know, in ye old English, or of that, type of accent. So it sounds very, I don't know. For me, it sounds dramatic. So, or just like there's like a, I don't know. It's just like it's just like it's because I don't live there. It sounds foreign enough and like fantastical enough, right? To me anyway. They're like, oh, this person's speaking the same language as me, but it's different. But then, or at least the way it is spoken, or the enunciation, whatever, however accents are like, whatever that is, when it's like the same thing, but like, oh, I'm sounding like this, or oh, I sound like this, or oh, whatever, just that was probably a bad example. Bad example, you know what I'm saying? That. Anywho, let's get off the voice acting. But like the voice acting's there, it makes it just 1,000 times better because it's like, dude, it's like I did not know, right? I was like, because I think this is the first one, possibly, where it's like they went back and they redid voices for like the entire game, and it wasn't in there before. And there's one specific scene I was waiting for to let R still sing when it's like effing Lancelot and one of the effing Lotus Knights, and they're about to duel, and it's like, oh, going down in the Archaeopolis of Rhyme, or the Holy City of Rhyme, or whatever. I was like, dude, I can't wait to get to that part, because like in my brain, like I've always like known that line in my head of like, let our still sing it, like such a cool like line the way it's written. I was like, oh, how's it gonna be like said? It delivered, it delivered, and there's like, yeah, dude, it's solid stuff, dude. Like Denim has a voice. It's like that's their thing, right? In like your head, you're thinking, oh, this is what these characters sound like, but then you get voices, and it's like, okay, well, this is neat, or just like the way things are pronounced, and it's like, oh, that's how that's said, or oh, that's how you say that. Kind of like oh, 16 kind of did that too this year with Giesel greens, but then there's like multiple pronunciations, so I was like, wait, I always called it like Gischel greens, and then like Clive says Giesel greens. I was like, wait, I was saying it wrong this whole time, because like that exists in Final Fantasy 7. In my head, I would say Gischel greens, and he said Giesel greens. I was like, what? I've been saying this wrong for like over 10 years or like 20 years or whatever the F it's been. I was like, that's effing wild, dude. But then there's another character he encounters, and they say it like I say it, and I was like, what? So, or they say it differently. I was like, dude, so you're telling me there are different. I mean, tomato, tomato, right? But like potato, potato. But like, there's nobody effing says it like the other way. But like effing, I mean, it makes sense. Like in my brain, I'm like, oh, I guess you could say something more than like one way. But then it's like, what's the official documentation, or like the documentation of like how this is spoken at Square Enix when we localize it and translate it, right, from our fictional language that we've made up, or fictional words rather. Anyway, Tactics Ogre. So effing good. Why is it so effing good? Alright, so you got high fantasy. It's class based, strategy RPG, turn based, and like it's essentially just like, man, it's not exactly rock, paper, scissors, but it's kind of rock, paper, scissors as far as like, what is weak and what is strong, and what is like, or what is weak against what is strong against what, the classes you need to counter other classes, or the abilities you need to make other classes that you're weak against strong, or strong against weak against you, vice versa. And it's just like, a like, yeah, like a turn based, battle, but like as you work through it in real time, you have to like overcome the odds, or just turn things in your favor, or like on the field it's grid based, so there's like different tiles that you move to, well, not one at a time, but like you move across the field, and then like on the field there's like different super strategical, super strategy of just like there's like I'm trying to think what's that word's called. There's when you're moving across the field, but there's different stuff on the ground. Terrain. Yes, there's different terrains, different terrain types, and like different types have different advantages. And like there's like altitude of like if you're higher than someone, you do more damage because you've got advantage of altitude. But like if you're on like even field, you've got, am I on grass? Are they on water? Am I on grass? Are they on sand? How's the terrain affect things? Your classes affect, like if I have a shield, or say I've got like a one-handed sword, they have a shield. I've got a two-handed sword, they've got a shield, or they don't have a shield. I've got one-handed, they have two-handed. Like, there's so many different like combinations of like, what is weak to this, what is strong to this, how is this going to affect my attack on this character, and just there's like just there's so many like tactical like just outcomes or just tactical what's the word for that? Like not tactical outcomes, but just like tactical not probability combinations. Yes, there's like so many combinations of like, XYZ versus XYZ. Or just like if you're using magic of like, is this going to be effective or should I use this or like the elements and the alignments. Oh man, that's the other weird thing about this game is like not only is there like fire, water, earth, lightning, wind, like the like I think dark holy also are also elements in this one. But you've got like there's like attunements or something. It's sorry. It's been a year since I played it because I haven't really played it that much this year. But it's like, dude, there's a lot going on there, and it's just there's a lot. Also, there's classes. I know I said that I think, but dude, there's effing there's a lot. There's a lot. Like if you played Final Fantasy Tactics, like to me, like like a super duper generalization of this game is basically it's like Final Fantasy Tactics, but like to 11, because like you basically have a bunch more classes. You've got about a bunch more tactical and strategy situation to think about at every turn. Um, magic and non-magic. It's a whole thing. Um, like how to counter abilities, skills. Oh yeah, there's that too. Like as you level up and get skills and whatnot, it's really like you really have to know how you're gonna like build. Like well, you don't really have to know how to build your character, but like there's so many skills and abilities. Oh no, my heater turned on. I don't know if that's gonna pick up, so let me just like talk like this. But but yeah, dude. Oh, and the music, dude. They redid the music, and like they made it more jazzy, and it got better in my opinion. Cause I'm like listening to the themes, and I'm like, hmm. And there's like little flourishes with the saxophone at the end, and I'm like, what? And it's just like, dude, did they really just add saxophone to like every track? And they did, and like, actually, I think they recorded a lot of it, and which is props to them because they didn't have to do anything. Honestly, they could just they didn't even have to put like new voice work in. They could just like ported that crap and been like, we're screening, so we're not gonna pay for this. Whatever, you're gonna buy it anyway. But they didn't. Oh, there was like I think there's some sort of like controversy on the redrawn sprites, but it looks fine to me. They also add some quality of life stuff. I can't remember at this point in time right now because I haven't played in a year. Sorry, but oh yeah. Like so, like before in like the PSP version, like you level up per class or something, not per character or something. Like it's way more cumbersome. But this time they changed it to where like your leveling isn't as limited to just like going up super duper slowly over time. Also in this game you get choices and consequences, and it's one of the games where it's like self-contained, so it's not like so when I say self-contained, I basically mean it's not like Mass Effect where it's like building towards like a payoff in a game later on. It's like in that game in that game you'll see the payoffs, like Witcher 3, uh, Baldur's Gate 3. What else does that? Effing Telltale stuff. Telltale stuff outside of The Walking Dead because that built to a conclusion in the final game. I mean, not necessarily, right? Because we know what happened to Telltale, so it's whatever. But but yeah, effing that. Well, I guess maybe the Fallouts, but then not to an extent, right? Because it's whatever. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so you have choices that you make, and it's like a branching storyline. And then at the end, you get the chariot of the world, or the world chariot, or something. But you get to basically go back and like replay the game, new game plus style, and just like redo decisions, redo things, or just see how they. Okay, my heater turned off. Like you can go back and see like how would things play out differently, or how do things play out differently if I do this versus if I do that, and and you've got a completely different cast. Okay, maybe not a completely different cast, but you've well yeah you do like if you okay so essentially there's like okay I want to say there's like three or four scenarios of the game like you go through from like beginning, middle, and end of like just making choices. So it's like if you do the like like lawful good, neutral good, chaotic good essentially. Because I don't think there's really like an evil playthrough because you're not evil as Denim. I guess you could kind of be good. But let's just say there's an evil path. Whatever. Fourth scenario. Evil. Whatever. Um, RP would like quote me on that. You're evil. Whatever. So there's like the four playthroughs, right? And then you're going through, right? And so like each arc, or not each arc. I'm sorry. Each story, each story scenario, you'll meet different NPCs, and you can recruit them to your party. So there's like different recruitable characters depending on your choices and like your actions and like how you go through a story, which is just chef's kiss, dude. It's just like so good. Of like, so you're telling me if I do this, it's different this way, but then I also get this other person that can join me. But if I do it this way, I can. Yeah, it's like oh, if I do this, this happens, and I get this person. If I do that, I can go. This happens, and I get that person. And that's your cool thing is like the outcomes are so drastically different, dude. Like I'm trying. I'm not gonna say anything because like there's like so many like different like spoilers of like just the stuff that goes down. But there's like yeah, some like major death scenes that you either get or don't. It's like super traumatic. So it's like when you get to the end, you're like, oh, I can save this person. Yeah, it's like it's very like Back to the Future. It's like we can save them. Yes, let's go back and save this person. It just yeah, because dude, one of the characters early on that gets wronged, Dame Raveness, and like she actually says her name this time because there's voice acting. So she's got like a whole thing I share button. I haven't uploaded it yet because I that was the other thing, dude. I was going back through my share button videos and like okay, let me not get to the sidetrack. Okay, so like you can go back and like save people, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. I can like recruit them because I didn't kill them, or they didn't turn against me, or like because I went the evil route and they're evil too. On the fourth playthrough, we're like, yes, you're on my team, team evil, yes. But yeah, then it all just like culminates at this epic Man, I had not played this game since PSP. I forgot how challenging and hard the final boss is in this game. It is rough, dude. And not only is it hard, it is like an awesome scenario of like what happens at the end. I'm not gonna say what happens, but it's effing cool. I mean, not like there's a part before the end, it's kind of whatever. But like when you get to the final boss, there's like a fight before that. It's like such a good scenario of like what they did to like balance things since like you're so built up by that point in the game of like, oh, guess it's like yeah, Chef's Kiss, dude. This is one of my all-time favorites. Like this is one of my all-time favorites. Like Tactics Ogre, it just like it is like the quintessential strategy RPG. I think that's what it was like said they were like it, or like whatever the marketing said, dude. Of like the like FN legendary strategy RPG, whatever. It's true. It's effing true, dude. Like the like the Han Solo meme from Force Awakens. It's true. It's all true. Cause dude, you play this and it's just like yeah, all the units like as you're making your party. Like I said, like all the like the Rolodex in your brain will be like going as you like play this game and like learn about all the rules and mechanics. And then like you're trying to like think of like oh what class, but then like what weapon or what skills or what spells, and it's all like just like and like it's all just like calculating in your brain of like hmm how do I get the meta? How do I get the meta? Or well not really. If that's how you play, like you'll do that and you can like just look it up. But it's like you also just like think if like whatever your playstyle is of like how do I do this? How do I do that? Or how should I do this? How should I do that? And that's just like get into the actual battles in the game, and like you're playing with your team, and like does like if it comes when it comes and it all comes together and it's all like running smooth like a smooth machine, and you're just like and then yeah, it's a fun time. So F and Tactics are good, dude. I hope I hope I just did justice to that game talking about it because I feel like there's a lot to mention there, and I feel like I'm forgetting a bunch, but I don't think I am actually because like replayability, like you get to the end, you can redo stuff. There's also like side dungeons that are just like super. Okay, here's the thing about the dungeons in the game is like, so the dungeons basically you go to like a spot on the map. It'll branch out into like a new like the new screen opens. It branches out to like all these different floors, right? So you have to like get to the exit to like get to the end. There are some there. Okay, there's one specific dungeon. I think it's called Palace of the Dead. It's Palace of the Dead with like 50 floors or something crazy. And then like the final dungeon in the game at the end has like it's quite massive. It's quite massive too, and it's just like some of those some of those dungeons, dude, are just like man, what a effing like. What would be a word to say to like go through a dungeon, but like it's like man, what a yeah, what a dungeon that was. I can't think of anything to say. I'm sorry. But yeah, dude, Tactics Ogre, definitely, definitely one of the best and like one of my favorites of last year. Um, what was I talking about earlier when I was like, don't get sidetracked by this, Chris? It was about Back to the Future. Was it Back to the Future? Something about Dame Ravenous? I don't even remember now. Awesome. Even better, because it's like, let's just not even go there and let's just keep focused. Alright. On to the last game. That's on my list for the top games 2022. But there's like other stuff that came out last year I didn't play, but then I still haven't played as we talk about this in October, almost November of 2023. It's like Gotham Knights. I didn't get around to that. Um, Midnight Suns. I picked that up cheap. Still haven't played it. Those are the two big ones. Oh wait. Oh, well, I'll get to honorable mention after I talk about this last game because that's a game I played but I haven't finished. But it's like, dude, of what I played, it's like it makes the effing list because it was something that came out this year in 2023, but it was well, not ported from Switch, but it also came out on Switch last year. And I don't believe there's any difference between those two versions. So it's like, you know what? I'll just give it. I'll just put it on the list because it's my effing list. I don't even care. And then like, because I can do it. Have it. But I'm sorry. Okay, last game. Last game from my favorite game of 2022 is Dark Pictures Anthology: The Devil Inside. That game. See, I wasn't so sure, like, cause all the marketing was like, "Oh man, we added all these mechanics to make it more survival horror." But then, like, the reason I liked the series was because it was like the cinematic, like, choice-based Telltale style. But then it like they added their own like thing to it, to where it was very like choice and consequence. It's one of those as well. It's got I'm sorry, that's one of my things. It's in my wheelhouse. I really like it. Choice and consequence. It's like it's really good in games anyway. Because it's like, oh, let me, because it's like it basically instantly adds replayability of like if I do this at the beginning, it's this playthrough. It's like it's scenario A. And then I talk to someone else that played it, and they're like, "Oh, I did that," and it's like scenario B, and it's like, "Oh, we had completely different, or just like one minor thing that's changed that's like very major difference on like a macro level that's like different in those scenarios. It's like, oh, cool. So it's like, um, move right along back to what I was talking about. But yeah, man, this one. So okay, so the thing about Devil Inside, um, I would say it's probably the best dark picture anthology game so far because it literally is like set in a very horror centric environment that leans into the whole theme of the series or the whole like what they're trying to do with the dark picture anthology series of just being a an interactive choice based survival horror game. But then like all the survival horror elements that I thought they were gonna like add to make it more gamey, to make it like kind of weird and like not as good when you're going through the in 3D environments, it didn't weigh it down. It kind of made it didn't make it. Let's just say it didn't. It was more additive. I'm not gonna say it made it better, but it didn't detract from the game or like make it worse to make it feel more gamey. There's lots of actually there's like some good stuff in there, like the whole asthma thing. That was like yeah, it takes like some mechanics or like some tropes from like horror films and stuff, or from like the horror genre, and like adds it to the game and like actually makes it better. So it is additive, but then also beneficial. I'm trying to think what the word would be. Like it's not just additive, but like it makes it better. So, um, yeah, like yeah, 'cause there's a character that has asthma, but then like when they get scared, they have to like use their inhaler. But then you only have like so many uses of it, right? So it's a very like it's a limited resource. So you're like, oh crap! I hope this person doesn't get freaked out like every moment to like have to use their asthma inhaler. And so that was really good. Um, there's something there's other stuff like that too, but like basically it just like leans in very much to the horror slash scariness, yeah, whatever, of like that genre of like what it's trying to do, and like the way the place it takes place in, because it's in a literal murder mansion or something, because I didn't know this like before I played the game, but it's based on this person named H. Holmes, which I guess is he was like the first serial killer in America. There's like a whole documentary in the game about it. I mean, I personally think there's like too much like weird like crime, not crime, but like criminal. I don't want to say like obsession, but there's a lot of like weird like people are into like murders and stuff like going on right now, and I'm just like, that's effing weird. That's like red flag level for me, honestly. So I didn't like know this going in, like it was based on him, or it was like based on that, or that was like an actual person. Because like I played the game and I learned all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is an actual person. Like as I'm playing through, because I was like, who the F is H. H. Holmes? And then it's like, oh, there's like after you finish the game, you unlock a documentary about it. And I'm like, oh, it's an actual person. And I was like, dude, I didn't know that. But then also there's also some stuff about the shoe. I can't remember if it was like the shoelace killer or some other. There's some other serial killer in like the Chicago area or something. It talks about that was um like the possible villain of the game or something. The way that they like tie it into like an actual like this person did these things and they are possibly still out there or like whatever is like a really good and intriguing scenario. But yeah, that was so like yeah, like you have like an actual like situation where like you're this film crew that like does like crime stuff. Well, not no, you're just a film crew. It's not always crime stuff. It's usually like travel stuff, but they're on this like murder uh mystery, you know, episode for their show, and they're like finding out all this stuff like as they're going through like the through that like environment, and then like stuff goes down and it goes super sideways, and it is just a treat to play through that scenario of like those characters in that setting of like they're just like every moment you can just tell they're like what the f did we get ourselves into, and then like you have the whole like trope of like them all being hunted down and like all that stuff, and because it's like a dark picture anthology game, you get the choice and consequence of like what you do affects like your choices affect the outcome. So it's like you gotta think as you're playing through of like how am I gonna get everybody out of here alive. And then for me personally, I had a personal investment in this game because I've played all the Dark Picture Anthology games, and I have yet to have everybody survive a game. And I was this close to getting everybody out. And I got to like the last chapter, and I lost two people, and I was just like, dude, I almost had it. So I have like a save file I have to go back to because I'm like so close. I feel like I can do it. But then, okay, here's the kicker for me. It's like there is a dog. I had to say, okay, I didn't have to save the dog, dude, but it was like save the dog or sacrifice one of the survivors. I saved the effing dog, and the survivor died, and I was like, no, that's evil. That is effing evil. Namco Bandai. I don't know what the studio is behind it, but it's like, dude, that. I mean, I was upset, but I was like, okay, well, play it on your part because you got me. But dude, it's like you're gonna make me save the dog, but then like one of the survivors dies. I mean, I guess that's also a trope of like horror movies. It's like, oh, don't like the whole like when you're in a situation of like what do I do, and it's like oh, and then they die. It's like oh, you should not do that. I was like oh, so close. But the other one was just like me pushing like, but that's the other thing is like the other one was like me. I had a button mispush. I messed up a button input. I think I think it was one of the heartbeat mini games of like I hit I didn't hit it, even though I had been like nailing all of them, and that's just like you let your guard down, and I effed up once, one missed button push and someone died. That's the other thing is like that's why I like those games. It's just like it's not just like the choices, but it's also like how you perform in the mini games in between. So it's like any moment someone could die. So that's I got to go back and save them, but yeah, that was good. I enjoyed it. I've cause like Man of Medan was basically Ghost Ship. House of Ashes was House of Ashes next. Yeah, that was man. House of Ashes goes places, dude. It's I don't even know how to describe it. I guess it would be like haunted tomb, but it escalates, dude. There's more to it than that. Um, yeah, and then we've got FN. Oh wait, I'm forgetting Little Hope. Little Hope. We've got wait, was Little Hope before? Yeah, I think it's Ghost Ship, Man of Medan, Little Hope is like a haunted forest, or I'm trying to think like what that would be, because you are kind of just like stumbling around in the dark in that one, in the forest. So I guess haunted forest, sure, whatever. Because your bus breaks down, but there's more to it than that. It's whatever. But like the basic premise of like what is this the horror thingy of this one? I'd say haunted forest, sure, or like Dark and Stormy Night in a Haunted Forest, whatever. Uh, House of Ashes, Cursed Tomb, but it goes places. Oh man, wait. Actually, I think did I ever survive that one? Oh no, I did lose the one person in that one. Dang. Yeah, it's like Man and Medan. I did I make no Man and Medan. I've always had like one person die. It's like I can't get them all out. Yeah, it's so annoying. Um, Little Hope. I'm trying to think who died. It gets weird at the end, man, because it's like I think I saved them all, and then like weird stuff happens, and it's like I didn't have the thing. I think it's whatever. It's like it was like at least one person, or maybe there's multiple people. It's weird at the end of that game because there's more to it than like what I'm like what I'm gonna save. I'm not gonna spoil it. House of Ashes. I lost one person, and then Man and Medan. I'm sorry, Devil Inside. Effing, I lost two people. I can probably save them though if I like read them my save. So I should do that tomorrow for Halloween for sure. Is like go back and try to save the survivors of the cursed film crew. I guess it might be the trope too, is like cursed film crew. But that's not really a trope, is it? It's not, but it could be. Mm, I'm not too well versed in the horror genre. But yeah, dude. And then we're supposed to have a space one this year that was like 88 something something, or like it was a number, all numbers, but it's like a space horror. But or I was hoping it was this year because they've been yearly so far. But if it's not yearly, that's fine. Just take it their time, take the time on the game, and like make it better. So, but yeah, that's it. That was the nice thing about the Dark Picture Anthology games is like we're getting one a year, and so it actually worked out that there wasn't one this year. But if there was one this year, it would have been better because we would have had like we would have had. I mean, by this year I mean 2023. But like if we would have had one this year, it would have been the space horror game and Telltale's Expanse, both space games, ironically. But then we also had like Starfield, another space game. So it's like there's a lot of space games this year. So I was quite quite satisfied with the amount of space games. Um, I like space. Mass Effect. But yeah, Destiny. Not so much Destiny, but it's in space. I don't. Let's not talk about Destiny. That's like, but that technicality. Anyway, um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, space and space games. But yes, the space Dark Picture Anthology game, FN Telltale, or yeah, Telltale with the Expanse game. But yeah, man, that's my four games of the year or top favorite games of the year. There we go. Boom. Oh come on! It was literally in frame for like 1 second. To focus, I should say. Oh yes. Eh. Anyway, um, so yeah, um, my effing honorable mention that did go into focus. I just don't want to say anything. Is going to be this is like the I'm trying to get the created thing again at the end. There we go. But yeah, my honorable mention for this video because I only have four, not the five like usual. But then it's like the list. My favorite games is just like it's evolved. The whole like I mean the video series because it was like the top five. Then sometimes it's like one game. Sometimes it's three. Sometimes this year it's four. Whatever for 2022. But like my honorable mention like to round it out. It's like they have a nice five here. Is Live a Live, Live Alive, Live a Live, Live Alive. I don't know how to pronounce. Square Enix game. It's a JRPG. It's strategy. Well, it's a lot of things. But playing it, dude, it's like, man, it's awesome because it's like it. Okay, so what the game is? Let me talk about what the game is before I gush all over it. It's basically you go through different eras of time, and like you play them from a JRPG like or turn-based or whatever, gameplay style. But then like you've got like the you've got prehistoric time, ancient China, feudal Japan, old west, present day. I want to say far future. I don't think there's like a future that's before the far future, but you've got those timelines. And you play through them and like they're just scenarios, but they're really effing good and fun. Um, but like playing them, I was like, this kind of feels very Chrono Trigger because of the like the way that it is like like every era feels very specific and like very focused. So I was like, you know, the well, I've only done like two or three, but like going to like the prehistoric era feels like the Layla stages or Ayla stages in Chrono Trigger. Of like when you go back there and like hang out with her. Going to the well, I've only done, I did from like I'm going from past to the future, so it's like I did ancient China with that was cool. And that like but basically like it made me think of like how there's like the different eras in Chrono Trigger of like you've got when you get the wings of time and like you fly from past to future and you can just like go wherever. But it was like, dude, this is like it felt like a very connective tissue to that game of just like it's hard to put into words, but it feels very Chrono Trigger of like you like each distinct era feels very specific, has different specific characters, gameplay, yada yada yada. And I was like, man, this like and like the art style just like feels very similar too. Um, I'm not familiar with like who developed it or whatever. I know it was like stuck in Japan forever, so it's like I'm not sure if like the same devs were like in same developers that like worked on it too. But yeah, that was just really cool to like play and like get that experience. But yeah, those are my I just wanted to mention that game at the end. It's out there. It's on Switch. It's on PlayStation. It's probably on Xbox. I think it's on Steam as well. But yeah. Anyway, that's it for geez, an hour long video. Me talking about my favorite games of 2022. A whole XYZ months later than I should have. But hey, the good thing, actually, now that I'm at the end, let me show my. Well, I don't need to show this. I've showed it before on Chaiwantech, and I'm not going to show it here. I guess I'll show it because I just said I'll show it, but then it's like, I won't show it, but then I'm going to show it. Unless it doesn't want to focus on the thing like it never does. But basically, on my games of this year, if it doesn't focus, that's fine. But basically, I've got like a document for like the games I was looking forward to this year. I played all of them. So, okay, I've played almost all of them, not all of them. But we're at the end. We're in October. And October is the last month on here. After October, I'm free, and it's November in a couple days. So I have like no games that are you know gonna be like, oh man, I can't wait to play that. That's on my list. So basically, it frees me up to be like, okay, guess what? The games of this year are done, or not done, but like I played the games this year, and then effing that's all of them, and then effing yeah. So I have my list already. Well, I don't have it yet, but like I can easily think as I look through this list of like what I've played, what are my top games this year. So it's gonna be a lot easier to get my top or my favorite games done sooner than years past in this year. Because the only thing I haven't played that was on my list is Miasma Chronicles, Lost Eidolons, and Lamplighters League. And that's it. I think there's like one more, but it might have came out last year. I'm not sure. It's like a some other RPG game, but it's whatever, dude. Like those three, I'm fine with like leaving off the list just because I can't always play everything on my list every year. So it's like yeah, like last year I wanted to play Chain Echoes, didn't get around to it. Um, whatever. Like there's a lot of games that last year. There's a lot of games last year I didn't get around to playing because oh yeah, I got sick at the end of the year and then trying to think. I don't think anything else happened. I think I just didn't have my life, my work life play balance was not like as good as it is now, where I've got everything kind of mostly balanced out. Um, but yeah, that's it for this video. So I'm not gonna say when this one's gonna be done as far as like my top games of 2023. You know what? I'll try to have it done in January because it's like that way it's done at the beginning of next year and like I don't want to put it out at the end of this year like before I possibly play through other stuff that's I want to play that's on my list. So I think I'll aim for January, at least February, whatever. It's for sure March. I mean, I love how it being like super vague and not specific. When I'm like, oh man, it'll be before this one that came out in October of the next year. I love how I talked about Horizon expansion, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is the base game. Oh, effing man. I think the Game of the Year edition is actually out now. So you can just buy the Game of the Year edition, which is like the game and the expansion, which is Quite funny. But hey, I recommend it. I love Horizon, so it's a biased opinion. Um, I mean that being said, I can tell you why. I can't just be like, besides just be like, oh, it's such a good game. Oh, it's so good. Oh, the controls. Oh, or just like non-specific reasons of like why it's good. Like any Bethesda fan says about Bethesda games. Oh, I said it. What? Bethesda games gonna pass. We'll talk about that next year's top five or my favorite games of next year. Like, yeah, this is supposed to be a top five thing every year, but then it's like it's just whatever. It's evolved and morphed and become its own thing. But yeah, I've been blabbing about this for an hour, so let's just wrap it up there. Um, my headphone is dying, or not my headphone, my headset. As far as like being able to hear things, one of my ear cups is going out. I think my mic still works because I can see it on my OBS. The setting, like the levels are, picking up at least. But it might be dying because it seems like it's not as. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, hopefully it's not. Hopefully the audio is good here. But that is it for this year's favorites. I'll put a link to all the previous years back to like 2012, 2013 in the or like all I mean all the way back to like when I first started doing them, which was in 2012 or 2013. It's going to be in the description. So feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends or not. That's cool too. And then like, if you want to go above and beyond, click the bell, which I never say cuz I never click the bell. I don't think I do. I might. There might be like 5 channels I click the bell on, dude. I honestly don't know because I'm just like, dude, I don't need to be notified when this channel drops a video because I'll probably see it in the subscription feed. Yeah. But, anyway, that's it for now. So until you see or hear from me again, thanks for watching. Actually, what would be cool because this is so late? Go ahead and if you want to put in the comments, like what you think my top five are for 2023. And like we'll come back and see like did anybody guess right, but like let's have a nice little game about it because I already have like I've got at least a solid 3 games for the list already. I mean I probably have like I probably like subconsciously have a 5 in my brain. I just haven't gone through the like motions of like making the list. Obviously I have like the number 1 that I've been playing a lot lately, if you know what I've been playing lately, and I have at least 2 games I'm gonna snub. um One, if you know, because it's the game I can't stop playing, but I effing hate. But I came back to it and I was like, dude, why'd I do this to myself? So, if you've heard me say that about a game, you already know what it is. The other one has the number 16 in it. Spoiler alert. So, so yeah. But yeah. Oh. Yep. That's it for me for now. So until you see or hear from me again, thanks for watching. And I'm now signing off.